Welcome to New Australian Bulletin. Check us out at www.newaustralianbulletin.com. Today we have with us our very special guest, the official representative for the Greek nationalist organisation Golden Dawn. His name is Ignatius Gavrilidis, and we also have with us, as per Australia's premier nationalist, Dr. Jim Saleam, president of the Australia First Party. You should all be familiar with him. I'm going to start off by asking the very broad question, and it's a bit of an explanation in itself. The leadership of Golden Dawn, which was founded by Nikolas Michaloliakos, have been in and out of prison since, I believe, 2015. But it was more recently that they were thrown in jail over some trumped up charges that not even I'm familiar with. Can you give our viewers a bit of a background on that?
Nathan, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to sort of have this discussion with yourself and a discussion with your audience and nationalists worldwide. In regards to the leader of and the founder of Golden Dawn, Mr. Nikolas Michaloliakos, as you're aware, circumstances where over the last 10 years, and as you stated, the trumped up charges more or less created a turmoil for the movement. We were a serious threat to the government and the establishment that's been more or less operating in Greece for the last 40 years. And when I say the establishment, we're referring to the bent establishment, the few that more or less that driven Greece to its economic situation that they are today. Our leader has taken a step back. He is more or less recognised as the founder of Golden Dawn today. Now, there is a 5-man committee that is more or less leading the movement. The movement is well alive and kicking. We've proven that in the past, while they're behind bars and released on bail, and again behind their iron bars, it clearly shows that the support for Golden Dawn is pretty strong, and they are established, and they are quite active, and they will remain active for as long as the freedom of elites is being suppressed in Greece. Golden Dawn will exist. There's a lot of serious matters that are actually occurring in Europe at the moment. We can see it, that it's quite imminent that the far right and nationalist movements are on the rise, as we have seen in Italy, Sweden, and other countries where there's a strong sediment of nationalism. Our leader, Mr. Michaloliakos will always be referred as our leader. Consciously, on a legal basis, he is recognised as he is currently recognised as the founder of Golden Dawn. He's taking a step back. He's taken a step back due to the fact that his health condition has taken a bit of a knockabout, being locked up in the cells, in the prison cells in Greece. He did have a health matter in reference to COVID. There's a lot of question marks regarding that issue, but his health did deteriorate behind bars, but he is in great condition, and he'll always be taking more or less, let's say, an advisory position, being the founder, to help guide and continue to guide more or less the leading committee of Golden Dawn. But there's a lot of question marks as well, because currently, you know, with what's happening in Greece, we're not exactly familiar with, you know, with Golden Dawn, with approximately 30 odd people still imprisoned. They are in a bit of limbo. We don't know exactly. We don't know exactly where we're going to progress, because the judicial system in Greece is so bent, so corrupt. Serious extremes and seriously extreme injustice has been undertaken over the last 10 years in Greece against the nationalists that virtually stand for the interests of Europe, and let alone the interests of their nation, Greece.
Dr. Jim Saleam, I like saying doctor. Can I throw you over to Iggy?
So, thank you. As you know, there's so much propaganda in the media that suggests that Golden Dawn was banned, that the legal decision in 2021 that sent them to prison indicated that they were a criminal organisation, and therefore Golden Dawn doesn't exist anymore. Obviously, that's untrue. Can you explain to listeners why this propaganda came into being? What's its origin? What's its impact?
Well, you know, they're trying to claim, that Golden Dawn is a criminal organisation. Golden Dawn is far from it. To be declared a criminal organisation, you need to have also proceeds of crime or proceeds of an criminal organisation. Such proceeds do not exist.
That's actually the Greek law, isn't it?
That's the Greek law. I mean, you know, they can come out and they can make any accusation, and they can stick by it, and you'll be charged with allegations. When a lot of other countries, you know, they imprison individuals for false allegations.
Of course. Do you think that this line that Golden Dawn doesn't exist, has it had any impact on the Greek people or potential allies for Golden Dawn and other places?
Look, a lot of people have been misled, especially, you know, the people, you know, in Greece. The propaganda, obviously the media, they do a great job, especially the paid media, by certain individuals within the government. They more or less tweet the fact that Golden Dawn was declared a criminal organisation, where in fact it hasn't. They've even declared that you know, Golden Dawn won't be permitted to head to the elections. That's a load of garbage. If Golden Dawn is well alive and kicking, and they will attend to the elections. But again, there's a lot of question marks at the moment with the up and coming elections, whether we attend or not. That waits to be determined, because there is a lot of talk that the election should be boycotted, while we've got nationalists and the leader locked up behind bars.
Right. If I can just take you right back to when they were all first arrested in 2013, I recall that many Greek nationalists said that Golden Dawn had virtually been the victim of a terrorism campaign. What do you say about that?
Golden Dawn had been
the victim of a virtual terrorist campaign waged on every level in Greece to destroy it. What do you say about that?
Golden Dawn more or less came out, and they were clear cut with their policies. They were clear cut with their intentions. They exposed they exposed a lot of corruption that has been occurring within the Greek political arena. They've actually upset many people, not only locally, not only the interests of corrupt local Greeks, but also foreign interests in Greece, where there was discussions that one of the former Prime Minister of Greece, Mr. Antonios Samaras, on a visit to New York, he had more or less a direct mandate issued by David Harris from the Jewish lobby in New York to eradicate Golden Dawn. Now, it was a period where, going back in 2013, Golden Dawn was more or less, and they knew it, that Golden Dawn was about to become the opposition party to the government. They were about to hit 18, they were running to approximately 18, 20, if not 22%. So they really noticed, all the Europeans noticed that, they've got a serious issue, on their doorstep, on their doorstep. So they took some dramatic measures to claim that Golden Dawn is some form of criminal organization or a bunch of thugs. They're not. They're absolutely not. But the fact that we actually instilled so much fear in exposing the truth, and Golden Dawn was the beacon for nationalism since 2008, when we had the global financial crisis. We raised alarm bells to our European counterparts. That's the problem that Greece is having, especially with the uncontrolled illegal immigrants and the internal corruption, is going to spread into Europe. And it actually has. And it's proven in the last 10 years, 12 years, that the local corruption within Greece has escalated today at a European level. Just take a look at today's events with Qatargate. We've got Eva K. Lee. We've got her partner, Francesco Giorgi, and you've got Antonio Panzeri that was arrested. They've been detained, and we're talking about not measly dollars. We're talking about multi-million dollars that have been fed underhanded into corrupt politicians who are serving the European Parliament. Now, under Golden Dawn, such corrupt mongrels would not exist in the European Parliament. Simple as that.
When just around the time that the suppression of Golden Dawn was organised, I remember reading in Greek nationalist documents about how the establishment, and Samaras' establishment, even used anarchists to commit murder. And can you say a little bit about that?
Look, we've had it's been extremely unfortunate that we've had you had the case where you had Roubakias commit, and this is a former lefty that was raised amongst the ranks of the left throughout his lifetime, and then all of a sudden he turns up in front of two police officers. He turns up and he decides to stab the rapper Fissa, wedges the knife into the guy's chest, and he just left it there and he just put his hands up. Now, someone that decides to commit such an act would normally stab an individual once or pull out the knife, and obviously would probably do the run. But in this scenario, it was a very well calculated act. The guy stood around right in front of the police. The police were quite amused. They thought, hang on, what's happening here? They were a bit astonished the way the murder was carried out. Now, obviously, the guy has been declared a Golden Dawn supporter, and under those circumstances, they just decided, well, okay, we're going to we're going to pin it on Golden Dawn, the leader, and everyone else that's involved with Golden Dawn, and we'll just lock them up for for the crime that was undertaken. But what's concerning is, what's extremely concerning and has been playing on my mind and has been playing on the mind of many nationalists is the assassination and the cold execution of our two nationalists that were guarding the officers of Golden Dawn, Manos and Yorgos Foudoulis. Manos Kapoulonis and Yorgos Foudoulis. These are two young lads that were executed in a cold-blooded act. Now, what fascinates me is the fact that all these years they haven't, no investigations. They've just swept things under the carpet, and there's no intention to find the killers. Now, that was an act that was, for me personally, observing over and over again, and I would have observed the footage, at least a couple of hundred times. The people that executed that murder, they're definitely not lone wolves or anything like that, or criminals or lefties. That was an execution that came, and orders that came from beyond the borders of Greece. Now, the stance of the killers, the way they had, the way one of them stood with his 2 feet apart, his arm was outright straight, aligned with his pistol, and to give cold-blooded point-blank shots to the boys, it virtually shows that the person was regimented, has got some form of military expertise, and that will bring it down to the fact that there's a good possibility that it was foreigners that committed that act, and solely to bring about a reaction to see at what level is Golden Dawn prepared to react.
Yes.
Just to more or less, it was a provocative act. It was a provocative act to more or less see and bring out a negative side of Golden Dawn, where Golden Dawn hasn't got a negative side. Our interests are, the interests of our nation and the people. I'm a strong believer the fact that Athens is contaminated in agents from all over the world, predominantly CIA, whether it's Italian agents, agents from Iran, Turkey. It's contaminated and littered. Even ISIS agents. It's one big. There's a big mess in Athens now. Without question, Mossad definitely carries out work in Greece as well. I'm a strong believer that it smells and it shows signs of the Mossad that executed the boys, but
We don't know.
we can't actually make allegations without proof as well. But the signs are there.
Sorry, I know there's still an ongoing appeal in the Greek courts of appeal against the conviction of October 2021. Do you put any store in the possibility the convictions or any of them may in fact be overturned?
In regards to with the Greek judicial system, anything can be expected. It's controlled. The judicial system is politically controlled as well. As for charges being overturned or any outcomes that will be in favour of Golden Dawn, that won't happen. Definitely won't happen. As if they can retain key members behind and key members imprisoned, and as well as a leader for as long as possible, they would. And it wouldn't surprise me if further charges are introduced at a later stage, just to ensure that they are kept behind bars.
Right.
Nothing will be surprising.
we have heard, and other nationalists around the world with whom, I might correspond and whatever. Obviously, after the imprisonment of Golden Dawn, there was some leaders, there was some fragmentation, and to be expected, of course. And we sometimes hear of minor groups with colourful names and whatnot that may operate, or say they operate in Greece. Has Golden Dawn got in place a strategy to reintegrate all the decent people, etc., back into the party, and to ensure that Golden Dawn is once again the standard bearer for Greek nationalism?
We've got some wonderful individuals that have remained loyal to Golden Dawn. There has been a lot of schisms. There's individuals that have decided to move on and create their own nationalist parties. You had the former spokesperson, they've gone, Mr. Ignatius Gavrilidis, he decided to move on and create his own political party. That's fine. Sadly, it has happened, but at the same time, the rats have jumped ship. So Golden Dawn, the Golden Dawn vessel is floating, is leading the way. We've got strong characters and individuals that virtually are capable of taking up positions and ensuring that we're going to exist in the future elections and in the future political arena of Greece. And not only Greece, Europe as well. We've been the guidance for European nationalists for a long time and will continue to do so. We are the front of Europe. We'll remain to be the front. We will do anything as we've done it for the past 2,000 years. We have been the guardians of the European culture, the European identity. Nothing's going to change.
Can I just ask something there? Is Golden Dawn the sole nationalist patriotic organisation in Greece? Is there any sort of half-stepping option, like you find around Europe, like in Germany and France? Not you know what I mean.
You got to, just to give an example. I mean, there's been a schism, with Golden Dawn, where you had something like five nationalist parties created. You've got other established, right-wing political parties such as Hellenic Solution. Hellenic Solution, led by Velopoulos, they are in Parliament. It's referred as a right-wing party, but it's nothing other than a puppet party, which allows the Liberal Party, or now New Democracy, to trump up their votes, and they're in the same bed with New Democracy. It's a joke party. The guy is nothing but a puppet to the state.
It's significant that Golden Dawn, and it's something that attracted, I know, a lot of nationalists from across the board in many countries, never compromised its ideological positions, made it always very clear. What do you say?
No. Golden Dawn has always been clear-cut, extremely clear-cut on its policies. They've never bet on their policies. They don't sway on their policies. A lot of people misinterpret, and they wish to, they'd like to sort of, create negative connotations behind our policies and try to tarnish the movement. Golden Dawn is clear cut with where it stands, and it's got no intentions of changing its policies when it comes to, its ideologies and its interests as well, especially when it comes to Greek, Hellenic interests. Greece feels, a lot of people feel that everything's running nice and smoothly in Greece. They're not. Greece's debt is continuously climbing. We've got serious threats coming from the east. I mean, it was only a couple of days ago or a week ago where Recep Erdogan made accusation, or not made accusation, he made a clear statement, and a threat that he's willing to sort of, send a Typhoon missile to Athens. Such individuals can only be, managed, correctly with Golden Dawn in power.
Correct. I was going to ask, obviously we've covered a lot of territory. Do you believe that Golden Dawn's, I'll say, total re-emergence upon the political scene in Greece is likely to be a very immediate thing? Do you think it's maybe after the next election? Do you think that there'll be a reanimation and so on?
Golden Dawn, we will very likely, the existing government will ensure that Golden Dawn will remain behind bars till the elections. They'll ensure that they won't partake in any elections that are coming up. And at the same token, while we've got our leader incarcerated, as well as other nationalists, there's a lot of uncertainty. But one thing is for sure, that upon their release, there will be a reassessment of Golden Dawn, and the Central Committee will be more or less undertaking the role to have directives to re-establish the movements Greece-wide, and give the people the option to vote for their interests.
Is Golden Dawn still carrying out its social welfare policies? They were pretty good, like, handing out blankets and food and that sort of thing to poor Greeks? Or is it fun?
Mr. Sykes, it's interesting that you raise that. Golden Dawn will always continue. Even this Christmas, we help the homeless, individuals with disabilities, children with mental health, but predominantly the elderly that haven't got family to rely on. The social work, the wonderful social work that Golden Dawn does, still remains to this very day. Even this, over the next, as we speak, food is being delivered to a lot of families that are in need of help. That hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. Even while they're imprisoned, Golden Dawn, especially when it comes to helping families in need, it would never stop.
So you believe that community support for Golden Dawn still exists? Because that's probably the most important thing. Or has
Golden Dawn has helped thousands of individuals, thousands of families in the past. Understand that many are grateful. Many have just taken advantage of the generosity of Golden Dawn. But God bless them. We don't hold any grudges or anything against them. Our key cause was to help families and those who have suffered from the economic circumstances that exist in Greece. We had, and the stats were something like 2,000 people were committing suicide in Greece for a period of 2-3 years after the global financial crisis. And the suicide rate always used to spike around Christmas and Easter. For some reason, around the festive periods, the suicide rate just used to escalate. And again, that would, we can determine that, in times of festiveness and times where people should be happy, there's nothing worse than going without food, through such periods. And especially, young families or families with children, not being able to provide, their pride takes a hit, and in most cases, a lot of people just decide to sort of take their own life.
Has the period of the imprisonment of Golden Dawn's leaders caused a generation to pass it by, i.e. the younger people coming up might not have heard or might not be aware of it? Where does Golden Dawn influence reside with the newer emergent generation?
Well, the generation that was the generation that has destroyed Greece, and the 80s generation that virtually created vermin and nothing but grots. That generation has shown that they didn't have the capacity to deliver. There's nationalist settlements, not only in Greece, but also throughout Europe. There's a strong rise of nationalism. And even currently, as we speak, there's a strong participation of youth that's embracing Golden Dawn, and Golden Dawn is embracing the youth as well. They see Golden Dawn as their, let's say, their vision and their hope as well. So the youth currently are swinging towards nationalistic mentality, and that's very promising, because those who control those who have got the youth will definitely have the future as well, and they are our future.
Before I obviously give it back to the compere and yourself for any final statement, I'd just like it on the record that Australian nationalists will always support Golden Dawn, and will obviously always call for the release of the imprisoned comrades and their final exoneration. Do you have any final statement, Iggy, that you'd like to make for our listeners today, and we can take it back to our compere?
Well, Jim, one thing that, it's been close to 10 years now, a good solid 10 years. I think, the last time the Australia First Party, with the initial imprisonment period in 2014, the protests in Sydney that the Australia First Party has undertaken, and also the protest in Brisbane, which I was present alongside yourself as well, considering that we will never forget our true friends, our friends that were there during the tough times, also believing in us and standing up for true justice. We've got political prisoners, Golden Dawn, then the nationalists that are in prison, they were nothing but political prisoners. And we value the fact that we have our brethren, the Australia First Party, that stood up in support of release of Greek political prisoners. All I can say is that Golden Dawn would always stand in solidarity with Australia First Party as well. We definitely value the Australian culture, the Australian people. We honour the Australian men that have been buried on Hellenic soil. We honour the men of Gallipoli. So we've got the Australian-Greek ties are so strong, and it's an absolute honour to have individuals like yourself, Jim, and many other Australian nationalists that stand with Golden Dawn.
And it will stay so.
We definitely wish to sort of wish everyone a Merry Christmas, not festive season, a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay. And wishing you all the best good health for 2023, and it will be great to sort of see the political prisoners of Greece, nationalists, released from prison.
I would like to ask, is the Hellenic Society of Australia still active, if I've got that title correct? I know you changed it from Golden Dawn.
The Hellenic Nationalists of Australia?
of Australia.
Is that who you're referring to? Hellenic
I-
Nationalists
I-
of Australia?
My deep apologies.
Yeah, no, that's good. Hellenic Nationalists of Australia will always exist. Again, but not on an official level. There's nationalists throughout. There is a network of Hellenic nationalists in Australia. They've taken a step back. It has been dissolved, but on a network basis, all nationalists, for obvious reasons, not to be sort of pursued, we've actually keep things low key, and the same applies with Golden Dawn as well. I'm happy to speak. I'm happy to speak on behalf of the leader and Golden Dawn, as I have been visibly known over the last 10 years. I stand solid to the values of Golden Dawn as a proud Australian, and also as a proud Australian with Hellenic heritage. There's nothing wrong with relaying awareness to Greeks that are abroad, whether it's America, Canada, London, or Australia. We always have a message to be transparent and ensure Hellenes and Greeks abroad get to learn the truth.
This question probably belonged earlier in the discussion, but what exactly were the charges against Michaloliakos and the others?
Well, the charges were, instructing various acts of crimes. Charges, those various charges which just don't stack up. There was multiple charges. Possessions of arms, assaults. It was more or less a group charges against all individuals, stemming from the leader and to all the rest. I can't work out. I myself can't work out exactly what the judicial system of Greece attempted to do, but it shows that the charges they're all trumped up and messy charges, which we're not even aware of ourselves.
But Golden Dawn was actually serving. Was it in the European Parliament or?
Well, Golden Dawn we've had from 2014 to 2019, we had 3 members in the European Parliament. We had the General Yorgos Epitidios and Mr. General Synadinos, and the father of one of the murdered nationalists, Lambros Fontoulis. So 3 European members of Parliament. Going back in 2014, we tried to get General Epitidios to come out and sort of being an honourable man and having served the Hellenic forces throughout his whole life, and being a man of integrity and respect. He served. All 3 of them served in the European Parliament as representatives of Golden Dawn, and they did a superb job. Especially the General Epitidios. He actually raised the level of corruption within Greece, and the level of corruption within the European Parliament. And it's striking how even today his words were absolutely spot on and true.
And I'll just qualify that, when you say raised the level of corruption, you mean raised the matter of the level of corruption, because I wouldn't want some wag taking your words out of context there. But so let me understand, they were in the Parliament. Were they part of the those arrested? Were they?
No, they weren't, no.
So they were allowed to continue on?
They were allowed to continue on. the only individual from 2019, the last European elections, you had Yanis Lagos. He was elected and entered the European Parliament voted in as a Golden Dawn representative. But at the later stage, he decided to become independent, and he didn't actually hand over his representation to Golden Dawn.
Well, that seems like a bit of a betrayal.
It was. I mean, it's nothing new to the leader, nothing new to the core individuals that are within Golden Dawn. I had a beautiful meeting with. I had a beautiful meeting with the leader going back in 2017, and I actually advised him to be extremely cautious and careful. Things aren't looking good. You are going to be betrayed. And I noticed that something wasn't quite right. The system has got their ways of having moles infiltrating political parties, and especially parties that they fear, and they'd love to create division. And they create division, and hence, when you divide, you conquer. In this scenario, they divided Golden Dawn into numerous bits and pieces, and thinking that they're getting their way. Golden Dawn will never be eradicated. No matter how many times they split and break apart Golden Dawn will never be eradicated. Golden Dawn is a live world, just like a phoenix. Every time you put one out, a new phoenix will rise.
Did you actually get anybody in the Greek Parliament?
No. No, Golden Dawn at the last elections, no. Yeah. Now, the electoral commission as well in Greece, there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of question marks. A lot of votes tend to disappear. Golden Dawn votes tend to disappear from ballots quite strangely. A common occurrence that has actually occurred also in the United States. Yeah, that's quite normal. If it can happen in the United States, and where you have the American, you got the American president, Donald Trump, lose out due to corrupt mongrels that actually execute the elections. Greece is it's easy street.
Okay.
And it's the birthplace of democracy, and if it's in such disarray, then all these
not the sort.
Yeah, well, all these claims about from the American Democrat Party about my democracy ring as hollow.
See, Mr. Sykes, the problem is, we refer to rogue states such as Iran and North Korea, etc. Corruption. Attempt to be corrupt, you'll be set 10 meters aside and executed immediately. Point blank. Corruption shouldn't exist. But unfortunately, that's democracy for you.
What can you say?
And we've got to sort of confront the fact that in some cases, democracy can work in favor and it can also work against you as well.
Well, there's some powerful conservative thinkers in America that have described, with the comparison of the fall of the Roman Empire, they've said that if they're comparing America to the Roman Empire, then the first bit that's fallen is the Republic. And now what you're seeing is the naked empire.
Correct.
Yeah. Just, I thought that's worth mentioning. All right. Well, listen, it has been absolutely fantastic to have you on New Australian Bulletin. I will, of course, hope that we can all meet again and have another talk down the track, and hopefully there'll be more positive news to relay. I understand, though, at the moment, Michaloliakos, I'm very sorry about that.
Michaloliakos.
His daughter is leading a lot of the party meetings over there.
Aurania has got her hands tied up. Also, the fact that she's a councillor within the thing in Chambers, so you know she's doing a fair bit. She's doing a fair bit as a councillor, but also you know in the advisory and in the involvement with Golden Dawn, she's doing an absolute tremendous job. Also, the fact that she's standing by her father as well. But her father has been of great guidance to her, and she's a courageous woman, and she's still strongly involved. And wonderful person to have around.
So she's certainly not in the league of Marine Le Pen.
You never know. Possibility, we don't know. But she has got the ability. But at the end of the day, the leading committee will determine. The people and the leading committee will determine what goes ahead in the future.
I didn't actually mean that. I meant Marine Le Pen was a disgrace to her father's legacy.
That's unfortunately true.
All right, well, I'll wrap this up. It has been very good to talk to you both.
Absolutely.
And have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.